All right, seventh hour. We are on page 5 of your red book. We're going to be reading through the rest of the act, including Romeo's sudden appearance. Hopefully you can hear the readers from sixth hour. Please follow along in your books. Start us out, Miss Lord of Montague.
Who set this ancient quarrel new abroach? Speak, nephew, were you by when it began?
Here were the servants of your adversary, and yours close fighting ere I did approach. In other words, he's saying they started it, and I tried to stop it. I drew to part them. In an instant came the fiery Tybalt with his sword prepared, which, as he breathed defiance to my ears, he swung about his head and cut the winds. That's supposed to be a joke, because when you cut wind, okay, so that was supposed to be a little funny. Who nothing hurt withal, hissed him in scorn. While we were interchanging thrusts and blows, came more and more and fought on part and part, till the prince came, who parted either part. So my question is, did Benvolio lie about what happened? No, he doesn't. He tells the truth. He says, they came, they kind of started it, and we got into it. I had everything under control until Tybalt showed up, and then all heck broke loose, and the prince broke us apart. The thing you need to understand about Benny or Benvolio is he doesn't lie, actually. He's the one person in the play that we can really trust. All right, Lady Montague.
Oh, where's Romeo? Longing him today. Right glad I am. He did not at least pray.
What do you think a fray is? The fight, okay? Madam, an hour before the worship's sun peered forth the golden window of the east. So in other words, an hour before dawn. A troubled mind drives me to walk around, where underneath the grove of sycamore that westward wordeth from his city side, so early walking did I see your son. So he got up and he went walking before dawn. Why? A troubled mind drive me to walk around. Something was bugging him. Something was bugging Benvolio, so he gets up and he goes walking down by this sycamore group. So early walking did I see your son. Towards him I made, but he was ware of me, meaning he saw me, and stole into the covert of the wood. I measuring his affections by my own, which then most sought where most might not be found. Being one too many by my weary self, pursued by humor, not pursuing his, and gladly shunned who gladly fled from him. So in other words, he saw him, ran away, and Benvolio was like, you know what, I'm just too tired. And so he didn't chase him. All right, Lord Montague.
Many a morning hath he been seen, with tears augmenting the fresh morning's dew, adding to more clouds with his deep sighs. But also soon as the all-cheering sun, should it be in furthest least begin to draw, the shady curtains from Aurora's bed, away from the light steals home my heavy son, and private in his chamber tends he himself. Shuts up his windows, locks fair daylight out, and makes himself an artificial night. Black importunate must his humor prove, unless good counsel made the cause remove.
All right, whoa, don't turn the page yet. All right, so one of the motifs, and remember a motif is a repetitive symbol or a repetitive, it could be a symbol, it could be a thing, it could be a character, but it lays to the theme. And one of the motifs that we're going to stop a lot and talk about is the concept of light versus dark, white versus black. And this one, Lord Montague's speech, is full of light and dark. First of all, he says that many a morning he's been wandering around and there's lots and lots of clouds and something's bugging him. Aurora is the goddess of dawn, and so he's up a lot at noon. He's trying to figure out what's wrong with his son. Every time he talks to his son, what does his son do? Look at the last 4 lines of his little speech. What does he do? 5 lines. Locks himself in his room, makes himself an artificial light, and he's all whiny and no one knows what's wrong with him. Oh, I don't know. Maybe he's 14. Okay. So in your groups right now, find those light and dark samples. By the way, in your Act 2 questions, there's a little T-chart there that says light and dark. Sorry, I should have had you have this out. But if you will take that out, that's where you're going to write those light and dark things. So we got morning, which is said twice. All cheering sun. What was Aurora again? Goddess of the dawn. So that would be light, Aurora. One more. He actually uses the word light. Away from light steals home my heavy sun. Okay? So the first half of the Lord Montague's speech has got a lot of references to light. The second half of his speech has a lot of references to dark, such as shady, clouds, yep, black, artificial night, shuts up his windows. All of that would be examples of dark. All right, so one of the reasons that Benvolio stands and gives us a recap of what just happened is that we have to remember that this is in Elizabethan times and that he's recapping what you might not have seen. And so now Montague is giving us some background information because we need that because the audience is going to need it to understand Romeo's attitude when Romeo enters in just a minute. Okay? Skip the page here. All right. My noble uncle, do you know the cause?
I neither know it nor can learn it.
Have you opportuned him by any means? Opportuned means have you questioned him?
Both by myself and many other friends, but he, his own affection's counselor, is to himself, I will not say how true, but to himself so secret and so close, so far from sounding and discovery, as is the bud bit with an envious worm, ere he can spread his sweet leaves into the air, or dedicate his beauty to the sun. Could we learn from whence his sorrows grow, we would as willingly give true as no.
So that is what, 2, 4, 6, 8. Those are 10 lines for him basically to answer the question. Have you questioned him by any means? Yes, myself and a lot of friends, and I don't know what's going on. So basically it's a long speech for I don't know. Okay? In comes Romeo. See where he comes? So please, you step aside. I'll know his credence, or be much denied.
I would thou wert so happy but by thy stay, to hear that true shrift come, madam, let's away.
Okay, shrift is one of the first vocabulary words. Shrift is a religious term that means to go to confession. So basically, Lord and Lady Montague are going to church, okay? And they're going there to confess their sins, okay? Now, I want you to look at Good Moral Cousin, Is the Day So Young, by You Struck 9, okay? It's like, wait a minute, I thought Shakespeare wrote an iambic pentameter. If we were to take the time, and please, dear God, that would be the most boring lesson in your lives, is if we were to take each of the lines that we have read so far, we would be able to scan it. Unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress, and we would have 5 feet or 5 beats. But if you look at that line, Good Moral Cousin, that's not 5 beats. That's not even, well, it's 6 syllables, but it's not definitely not 5 beats. What Shakespeare does sometimes is he starts the beats with one line and ends them with the next line. Okay? Good Moral Cousin. Oh, Romeo, who got the hat?
Is the day so young?
But new struck 9, so now we know what time of the day it is.
I mean, sad hours seem long. Was that my father that went hence so fast?
It was. What sadness lengthens Romeo's hours?
Not having that, which having makes them short.
In other words, he said, if I had what I wanted, time would just fly. In love.
Out.
Of love?
Out of her favor, where I am in love.
Okay, so that's a really important line. He's in love, but she's not. She's not really into him. Okay? So in other words, alas, that love so gentle in his view should be so tyrannous and rough in proof. In other words, he's kind of making fun of him, saying, love is your dictator. You're not thinking straight because you're in love. Go ahead.
Alas, that love, whose view is muffled still, should without eyes see pathways to his will. Where shall we dine, O me? What grave?
Wait. Okay, we're going to stop there. In my book, that's why I just looked over Alicia's shoulder, which she probably thought was really creepy. In my book, the word love is capitalized because it's kind of seen as a personification. So, alas, that love, so gentle in his view. So it's like love is looking on him, but he's kind of being rough with you, Romeo. He goes, yeah, love. It's muffled and it doesn't have any eyes, and everybody falls to its will. Where shall we dine? So he's basically saying, hey, where are we going to go eat? And then he stops and he says, oh, me, what fray was here? So there's got to be something left over from the fight that he notices that the fight happened. I don't think he's stepping over dead bodies, but there's something there that he knows that there was some kind of fight. Okay, go ahead, then keep going.
Yet tell me not, for I have heard it all. Here's much to do with hate, but more with love. Why then, O brawling love, O loving hate, O anything of nothing first create, O heavy lightness, serious vanity, misshapen chaos of well-seeing forms. Feather of
Lead.
lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health. Still walking sleep, that is not what it is. This love feel I, that feel no love is in.
All right, so I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to have you take out your, you already have your Act 1 thing, but I'm going to have you turn to the word oxymoron, please. An oxymoron is when you're taking two terms and you're putting them side by side, and they're obviously opposites. So like when you go to a restaurant and you see jumbo shrimp, that's an oxymoron because it's a shrimp, but it can't be jumbo. Okay, it's right here, guys. It's on this thing. An oxymoron right there. Okay. Oops. Another oxymoron. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but it would be two that, like jumbo shrimp is an adjective with a noun. A baby grand piano. Yep, thank you. Great example. So Romeo, in all of his, I am not a Romeo fan, by the way. I make fun of Romeo all the time. I think he is a wuss. Okay, not the person who reads Romeo's line, but I think Romeo has no backbone. I am a huge Juliet fan because she actually has a head on her shoulder. He doesn't use his head. He is governed by other parts of his body. No offense. It's just the way the play is. Okay? So he goes through this long speech here about, oh, woe is me, I'm so. Okay. So there is a crap load of oxymorons in that speech that he just gave. Find 5 of them, and you can't use feather of lead because I already used that one in your example. And write them down in that line. He goes through all of this, and then Benvolio laughs. Romeo. No, cuz I'd rather weep.
Good heart, at what?
At thy good heart's oppression.
Why, such is love's transgression. Griefs of my own lie heavy in my breast, which thou wilt propagate to heaven's grief.
Pressed.
Press. With more of thine, this love that thou hast shown, doth add more grief to much of my own. Love is smoke raised with a funeral sigh, being purged, a fire sparkling in lover's eyes. Being vexed, a seed nourished with lover's tears. What is it else? A madness most discreet? A choking gall and a preserving sweet?
Okay, random stop here. What did I say about strong rhyme? Strong rhyme, more important than line. Look at the rhyme in Romeo's speech right there. The couplets, strong rhyme, breast pressed, shown, own, sides, eyes, tears. Eyes and tears not so much, but discreet and sweet. Really, really strong. So he is describing what love is, and to him it's like, love hurts. What is that old song, 80s song? Never mind. I'm not going to sing any more of it. I don't remember who it is. He's saying that love hurts. Okay? It adds grief. It's smoke. It makes you sigh. It makes you purge, which is okay. It's fire sparkling in their eyes, but being under a spell. It's a lot of crying that makes it into the ocean. Gall is, remember, gall is like that awful taste that you have after you vomit. Yeah, and it's a preserving sweet. So that's my life. It's like I will never have anything sweet to eat again because my mouth is always going to taste like I just vomited. That's what love is, Benvolio. And then he says, farewell, my cuz. Soft, I will go along. And if you leave me so, you do me wrong.
Tut, I have lost myself. I am not here. This is not Romeo. He's some other way.
Tell me in sadness, who is it that you love?
What, shall I groan and tell thee?
Grown? Why, no, but sadly tell me who.
Did a sick man in sadness make his will? Ah, word ill, urged to one that is so ill. In sadness, cousin, I do love a woman.
Oh, that's good. I aim so near when I supposed you loved. In other words, that's what he's saying. It's like, oh, I'm glad.
A right good marksman, and she's fair, I love.
In other words, she's good looking. All right, fair mark, fair cuz, as soon as hit.
Well, in that hit you'll miss. She'll not be hit. With Cupid's arrow, she has Diane's wit.
Okay, so we need to stop. So Cupid is the one that used to hit people and say that made them fall in love. And remember, Cupid was Eros, which is where we get the word erotic, if you guys remember our mythology. So he likes this girl that is very good looking, but she won't give it up. Do I need to explain what I mean by that? Because Diane was the goddess of chastity or virginity. So he says, oh, she was hit with Cupid's arrow, but she has Diana's wit. In other words, she's been kind of playing with him. Okay? All right, so when you see the word chastity, it means that she's trying to stay pure. Go ahead, Romeo. And he's 14, remember.
And in strong proof of chastity well armed, from love's weak childish bow she lives unharmed. She will not stay the seed of loving turn, nor bideth encounter of a sailing eye, nor ult her lap to saint seducing gold, for she is rich in beauty, only full, that when she dies, with beauty dies her soul.
So notice that he kind of compares what he feels for her like a conquest or somebody going to battle. He's talking about bows and arrows, and she won't take the siege, like he keeps trying to hug her. A sailing eyes, like, like a spy that's checking out, a fort. And she's got a lap full of gold. You can take that the way you want to. She won't ope her lap. You can take that the way you want to. And he's saying, you know what? She's so beautiful, and she's just going to die beautiful without anybody ever having it. Okay? Then she hath sworn that she will still live chaste, meaning she will always stay pure.
She hath, and in that sparkling makes huge grace.
So that's our hint that whoever he loves actually wants to be a nun. So you're trying to court a nun and make her give up something that she's supposed to give to God. You awful person. Go ahead.
Her beauty starved with her severity, cuts beauty off from all posterity. She is too fair, too wise, wisely too fair, to merit bliss by making me despair. She hath forsworn to love, and in that vow do I live dead that live to tell it now.
So in other words, because I can't have this woman, I'm going to die. Okay?
Well,
Be ruled by me, forget to think of her.
oh, teach me how I should forget to think.
By giving liberty unto thine eyes, examine other beauties.
'Tis the way to call hers exquisite and question more. These happy masks that kiss their ladies' brows, being black, put us in mind they hide the fair. He that is
Strucken.
blind cannot forget the precious treasures of his eyesight lost.
Okay, we're going to stop him. So in other words, if he kisses a lot of other girls, it doesn't matter because he's been struck blind. Why? She's so beautiful and she won't be with me. So she's saying that he's basically, someone's like pulled his eyes out, struck him blind because she is so precious and he will never ever forget her beauty, and it doesn't matter how many girls he kisses. Go ahead.
Show me a mistress that is passing fair. What doth her beauty serve but as a note, where I may read who passed that passing fair. Farewell, thou canst not teach me to forget.
I pay that doctrine or else die in death. In other words, I got you know what? I got you, Romeo. I'm going to show you somebody. Okay? Before we kind of close off Act 1, Scene 1, did you notice that there's more dark though? Black and blind. Okay? And Benvolio so Benvolio's gotten further than anybody else has, found out that Romeo is in love with somebody that doesn't love him back, is going to remain chaste and pure, which some people assume means that she's going to be a nun. That's putting a lot of reading into the book because that makes Romeo so hot that any girl would fall for him. Maybe she's just a girl with morals, but some people believe that she's going to be a nun, okay? But Benvolio is saying, you know what, let's look elsewhere. The person that Romeo is talking about is not Juliet. It is a woman that we'll find about, a young girl that we'll find about in the next scene. Her name is Rosalind. And he is absolutely fallen smitten for her. But why has he not told his best friend, his cousin, the actual name? She is not a Montague. She might be, probably could be, is more than likely is a Capulet. Right? So not only is she remaining to be pure, she wears the red hat. Okay? All right, from this point on, I'm going to pause. Go to the questions where it says Act 1, Scene 1. Right? You should have the page still open to it or close to it. There are, there's the 2 questions for prologue. And so answer questions 1 through 8 here as a review of what we just read. Okay? Questions 1 through 8. So